My name is Dia Mercer Whitfield. I'm 34 years old. This morning I watched my sister cry outside a courtroom she wasn't allowed to enter. 5 months ago, I stood in a hospital hallway at 2 in the morning, listening to my sister's voicemail greeting while a surgeon waited for permission to operate on her 8-year-old daughter. My sister was on a beach in Mexico. Her phone worked fine. I know that because, while my niece was being wheeled into an operating room, my sister posted a photo of a cocktail with the caption, "Unplugged." Everything that happened between that hallway and this courtroom, the accusations she made against me, the police at my door, and what I found hidden in a shoebox in her closet is the part nobody in my family saw coming, least of all her. Welcome back to Calm Karma Stories, where quiet people finally tell the stories their families never wanted told. If you've ever been the one who shows up while someone else takes the credit, this one's for you. Tell me where you're watching from and subscribe, because you won't want to miss how this ends. Let me take you back to before the hospital, when I still believed my sister was just careless, not something worse. I live in Fairview Ridge, Indiana, in a 2-bedroom house I bought with 10 years of night shifts. I'm a pediatric nurse at the county hospital. I chart fevers, I hold hands, I tell scared kids the truth in small doses. It suits people like me, the ones who stay calm while everyone else is loud. Our father died when I was 14. My sister Renee was 19. At the funeral home, our mother Diane straightened our collars and said, "Smile, people are watching." That was the whole lesson, and our family never taught another one. From that day on, we split ourselves without voting on it. Renee performed the family. I maintained it. I covered her electric bill so her lights stayed on for a party. I picked her up from a police station at 3 a.m. and told Mom she'd been at my place. I wrote her thank you cards because she said her handwriting wasn't cute. Nobody ever asked me to do any of it. Nobody had to. There's a role in every family for the person who quietly cleans up, and once you're cast in it, nobody bothers auditioning anyone else. I was the fixer. I thought keeping the peace was the same as keeping the family. It took a hospital bracelet on a little girl's wrist to teach me the difference. Renee's marriage lasted 5 years. Her daughter Maya arrived near the end of it. The husband was gone before Maya could walk. Nobody in my family ever asked follow-up questions. Follow-up questions wrinkled a picture. So when Renee called me in March and said she needed a favor, I said yes before she finished the sentence. I had no idea that particular yes would end in a courtroom. Renee dropped Maya on my porch on a Tuesday with one rolling suitcase and a hug, timed exactly to when Trevor, her boyfriend, money and a golf tan, could get the photo. 4 days, Renee said. Cabo. Trevor booked the villa. You're a lifesaver. She never asked if I was working that week. Then she was gone, and there was Maya, 8 years old, holding her backpack straps like a parachute harness. Here's what you need to know about my niece. She's polite the way kids are when politeness is a survival skill. She apologized before opening my fridge. Third night, watching some sitcom where the TV dad burns the pancakes, Maya said without looking at me, "Do dads always forget stuff? Mom says mine forgot me before I could walk." I told her some dads lose their way, and none of it is ever the kid's fault. She nodded like she was filing my answer next to a lot of other answers. Later, I realized I had never once heard my sister say Maya's father's name. Not at Christmas, not in an argument. The whole family had silently agreed he was a closed door. 2 nights later, I stopped thinking about that door and started fighting to keep my niece alive. It started as a stomachache at dinner. By 10, she was curled on the bathroom floor. Fever climbing, wouldn't let me touch the right side of her belly. 12 years in pediatrics teaches you the particular stillness of a child who stopped complaining because the pain has gotten serious. I grabbed my keys and drove the 18 minutes to the county hospital with my flashers on. I called Renee from the parking lot. Voicemail. Called again at intake, during triage, while they drew blood. Voicemail, voicemail, voicemail. I texted in all caps, emergency. Made ein ear. Call now. Now. The scan confirmed what my hands already knew. Ruptured appendix, infection spreading through her abdomen. Surgery that night, not in the morning. And the surgeon, Dr. Ellison, needed a parent's consent. I was the aunt. I stood in that hallway holding my phone, a nurse who knows every step of the protocol, stuck on the wrong side of it. There is a specific kind of helplessness in knowing exactly how the machine works and not being one of its levers. Maya was on a gurney behind those doors, asking a nurse if her mom knew which room she was in, and I was in the hallway learning that competence and authority are not the same thing at all. Then my phone lit up. Not a call, a notification. Renee had posted a new story from the resort. A cocktail sweating in the sun, sunglasses reflecting the ocean, and across the bottom in cursive, unplugged. I stood under the fluorescent lights looking at that word, and something in me went very quiet. Hospitals have a rule for this. When a child's life is in danger and no parent can be reached, doctors can operate on emergency authority. Dr. Ellison invoked it without drama, but the hospital kept working the phones anyway, and around midnight a front desk clerk in Cabo walked a cordless phone out to a swim-up bar and put my sister on the line. I stood close enough to hear music behind her voice. The charge nurse explained, ruptured appendix, emergency surgery, your daughter. Tonight. Renee said, fine, whatever they need. A second nurse witnessed the verbal consent and charted it, time-stamped. Here's what my sister didn't ask. Which operating room, the surgeon's name, how long it would take, whether Maya was scared. She asked one thing. She'll be fine, right? Kids bounce back. Then she said she had to go. The surgery ran long. The rupture had leaked infection through Maya's abdomen, peritonitis. I sat in the family waiting room on the wrong side of doors. I walked through every shift. At 3 a.m. Dr. Ellison came out and said, we got lucky twice. Maya came out of anesthesia small and gray, and the first thing she asked, before water, before pain medicine, was, is my mom here yet? I told her mom was traveling and it was hard to get back. My first lie to her, told for my sister's benefit. Remember that, because I told a lot of them before I stopped. The next afternoon, I video called Renee from the hallway outside recovery. She answered from a beach chair, ocean flat and gorgeous behind her. I told her Maya had nearly died, that there was a flight out at 7 a.m. Renee scoffed. Actually scoffed. She's just being dramatic. The doctors handled it, didn't they? That's literally their job. I didn't argue. I just stared until the picture froze once and unfroze. Don't make this a thing, Dana, she said, and hung up. I opened the notes app on my phone and typed the date, the time, and exactly what she'd said. I didn't know yet what I was building. I just knew somebody should write it down. Maya spent 5 days on the pediatric floor. My floor. Naomi, our charge nurse, quietly rearranged the schedule and never made me ask twice. I slept in the recliner beside her bed. Every morning, Maya checked the door and asked some version of, did you tell my mom the room number? Maybe she got lost. The social worker came by with her clipboard. Has mom been reached? I gave her the facts. She wrote them down. We understood each other perfectly. My mother visited on day 3 for 20 minutes, brought a balloon, took a selfie beside the bed for the family group chat captioned, our brave girl, and on her way out squeezed my arm. Don't turn this into something, Dana. She's her mother. I'd hear that sentence for months, like a bell that only knows one note. That night, Renee finally texted me directly. Trevor extended the trip. You've got her, right? I added it to my notes and told my niece another lie with a smile on my face. 4 days became 18. A wellness cruise materialized, then a stop in Naples, Florida, which my sister documented like a war correspondent covering brunch. It was nearly 3 weeks before her plane touched down, nearly 3 weeks after her daughter's appendix ruptured on my bathroom floor. And she came home, tanned, rested, and ready to be a mother again for the camera. I want to be honest about what I did when she got back, because it matters later. I didn't confront her. I handed my niece over with a packed bag and a typed medication schedule, because Renee was still her mother. And that sentence still meant something to me. The reunion happened on my porch, and none of it was real. Renee crouched down, arms wide, and Maya walked into them because 8-year-olds will always walk into their mother's arms. Trevor filmed it from 2 angles. By dinner time, it was online. Golden hour caption, reunited with my whole heart. After our little scare, I'm not letting this girl out of my sight. She'd never asked to see the incision. Never asked the surgeon's name. The comments rolled in. Supermom, praying for your sweet girl. That's the thing nobody tells you about a person like my sister. You're not fighting her, you're fighting her audience. It held for exactly 4 days. Then my phone rang at 9 at night, Maya's name on the screen. Aunt Dana, can you stay on the phone till I fall asleep? Her voice was tiny and businesslike. Her mom had gone to Trevor's for the night. I'm old enough now. The oven's off. I checked twice. An 8-year-old, weeks out of abdominal surgery, alone, checking the oven like a tiny building superintendent. Over the next 2 weeks, it became a pattern. The 9 o'clock calls, the whispered inventories. Then the clinic called me, not her, because I was the contact on file. Maya had missed her surgical follow-up, the wound check. Renee hadn't shown and hadn't answered the reminder calls. I rescheduled it myself, took a personal day, drove her there, and didn't tell my sister, which tells you everything about the groove I'd been living in for 20 years. The doctor peeled back the dressing and frowned, irritated, sloppily changed. Who's been doing this? Maya said proudly. I do it myself. I watched a video. The doctor looked at me over her glasses. The quiet thing sitting in my chest since Cabo stood up and started pacing. 2 weeks after that, the school called. Maya had gone gray and shaky in class, nearly fainted, running a fever. They'd tried her mother twice first. Renee was 2 hours away at a brand wellness retreat. I clocked out mid-shift. At the ER, the second visit in 2 months, they diagnosed a superficial infection at the incision site. Treatable. Treatable is a word that does a lot of quiet lifting. While Maya slept off the fever, Renee finally texted, "Just take her. I'm slammed this weekend." Like a package. I sat in that ER bay and read it maybe 30 times, and I felt 20 years of excuses for my sister quietly get up and leave the room. Hospitals are full of mandated reporters. So are schools. A second ER visit, a mother unreachable both times. The machine noticed. It made its records. It didn't need my permission. 2 days later, Maya's school counselor, Mrs. Ortiz, called and asked to meet off school lines. She slid a drawing across a coffee shop table, face down. My family. A house with big windows, smoke curling from the chimney, a woman in scrubs, the neighbor's cat, and Maya holding the woman's hand. No mother anywhere on the page. She asks to stay late in the art room, Mrs. Ortiz said. She told the aide she doesn't like getting home early. I drove home and took out an actual notebook, spiral, blue cover, and started at the beginning. The date Renee left, the rupture, the verbal consent from the swim-up bar, every 9 o'clock call, the missed follow-up, the infected wound. Just take her. Dates, times, witnesses. That night I did the math I'd been avoiding. In 7 weeks since the surgery, Maya had slept at my house 26 nights, more than half her nights at an address her mother's social media never once mentioned. A caseworker, Teresa Lynn, visited Renee's apartment following reports from the hospital and the school. Reports I hadn't filed. A fact that would matter to nobody in my family. Renee performed beautifully, I'm told. Scrubbed apartment, full fridge, a candle burning like a stage light. But the medical chart doesn't take a shine to candles. By nightfall, my sister had called our mother, both aunts, and a cousin I hadn't spoken to since a wedding. And the story was, Dana called CPS on me. Dana's always been jealous. Dana is trying to take my daughter. My phone buzzed nonstop. My mother's call was the one I answered. How could you sick the government on your own sister? I told her I hadn't. Hospitals and schools are required by law to report. You're tearing this family apart, Dana. Whatever her faults, she's her mother. I said, Mom, ask me what the reports say. Ask me one question about Maya. She hung up. Near 10, a text from Renee. Sugar sweet, no context. Come get her tonight and grab some school clothes for my place. Keys under the mat. I went anyway. Maya was on the couch, backpack already zipped, coat on, like a kid who'd learned to be ready. While I was folding a sweater in Renee's room, a small hand took 2 of my fingers. I found something, Maya whispered. I put it back so she wouldn't know. She led me to her mother's closet and slid a shoebox off the top shelf, hidden under a stack of sweaters. Hidden the way people hide things from cleaning ladies and children, which is to say, not well enough. Inside, a bundle of envelopes wrapped in a rubber band. Birthday cards, Postmarks running back 6 years, all from the same town in Wisconsin. Every one unopened, and across most of them, in Renee's rounded handwriting. Return to sender. Except she hadn't returned them. She'd kept them stacked like trophies in a box her daughter could reach with a step stool. The sender's name, printed neatly in the corner. Marcus Doyle. Maya was watching my face. Mom says my dad forgot me, she said. The same words from my couch 2 months earlier, standing now in front of 6 years of evidence to the contrary. I did what I do. I stayed calm. I photographed every postmark, one by one, my hand steadier than I felt, and put the box back exactly where it had lived. Under the sweaters, on the shelf an 8-year-old had to stretch to reach. What I didn't know as we drove away was that one envelope had already migrated into Maya's backpack. My niece, it turns out, documents things too. All the way home, one question sat in the passenger seat with me. What else had my sister returned to sender? 2 nights later, 2 police officers knocked on my door on a Saturday while Maya and I made grilled cheese. The older one, Officer Grady, said, "Ma'am, we have a report that you took a child from her mother without permission." Kidnapping. My sister had told police I kidnapped her daughter. My phone was already lighting up. Renee had posted a black and white photo of her own folded hands. "Pray for us. Family can hurt you the deepest." 200 comments and climbing. Behind me I heard the smallest sound. Maya at the top of the stairs, arms around her knees. She'd heard all of it. I didn't yell. I didn't defend myself on the porch. I invited the officers in, offered coffee, flipped Maya's grilled cheese so it wouldn't burn. Then I slid my phone across the table. "Just take her. I'm slammed this weekend. Come get her tonight. Keys under the mat." And set the blue notebook beside it. Officer Grady read it twice, then looked up. "Ma'am, we see this more than you'd think. There was no crime here. You cannot kidnap a child her mother texted you to come get. No charges. But Fairview Ridge is a small town, and small towns don't read police reports. They read vibes. By Friday, HR had invited me to a meeting with the word temporarily in it, temporarily reassigned off the pediatric floor, pending nothing in particular. Naomi fought for me in Most, then found me in the parking lot, furious on my behalf. I sat in my driveway understanding what my sister had done. She'd taken the one arena where I was unimpeachable, my competence, my reputation with children, and put a smudge on it for free. That was the day I stopped mourning the sister I'd grown up with, but her false report was now a public record, dated and dismissed. Every lie she told from here on would be told to institutions with consequences. She was building my case for me. Nancy Cole had practiced family law in our county for 30 years. She read my notebook cover to cover, then took off her glasses. "I can file for emergency temporary guardianship on this. Hospital records, CPS involvement, an unreachable parent, a false police report. It's strong. But you'll be suing your sister. There's no version where you get to be the nice one after." I thought about Maya checking the oven twice, about she's just being dramatic, and I signed. The emergency hearing came 8 days later. Renee arrived in beige, with a tissue already in hand. Her testimony was a masterpiece. Single mother, doing her best, a jealous sister who'd always wanted her life. Then Nancy handed up the records. The verbal consent from the swim-up bar, the 3 weeks abroad, the missed wound check, the infection, 26 nights and 7 weeks, the school's documentation, the CPS findings, the dismissed police report, Renee's own texts. I testified for 9 minutes, mostly yes or no, looking at the judge the whole time. Judge Whitmore granted temporary guardianship to me. 60 days, supervised visitation for Renee, a court-ordered parenting evaluation. Not a victory lap. A tourniquet. Outside on the steps, Nancy lit a cigarette. Temporary means temporary. At the review, the court asks a bigger question. Is there anyone else? Any other family? Quit pause. If you've ever stayed calm while being called the villain, type charted in the comments so I know who my people are. Renee responded to losing in a courtroom by winning everywhere else. Long captions about snakes in your own garden. She never used my name. She didn't have to. Strangers filled my inbox calling me a child stealer. Then she made her first real mistake since the police report. On a Tuesday outside her scheduled visitation window, she showed up at Maya's school at pickup. got as far as the bus loop with Maya's hand in hers before the vice principal caught up. "I'm her mother, I'm allowed," she told the front office. The school had the court order on file. They walked Maya back inside and called the court. Violation documented. Judge Whitmore issued a warning and tightened the schedule. Near midnight, my mother called. "Come to the house, your sister's here, she's not okay." I went because 20 years of being the fixer doesn't come off with one signature. Renee sat on the good couch with a wine glass and ruined mascara, holding a framed photo. Two girls in matching dresses, matching smiles that don't reach anybody's eyes. "You think I don't love her?" she said. "Nobody ever taught me the part when the camera's off, Dana." Mom clapped when Lee smiled. That's it, that was the whole class. For one long moment, I saw her whole 8 years old, learning that love was applause. My anger sat down. Something sadder took its chair. Then she wiped her eyes and her voice came back with its edges on. "My lawyer says judges always come home to the mother. Whatever your little notebook says, she's her mother. Everyone knows that." I drove home understanding I was looking at a grief with no funeral. The person I missed had possibly never existed. The card got opened on a Thursday in Maya's therapist's office, because some doors a child should open with a professional in the room. Inside, a cartoon fox holding balloons, careful handwriting. "Happy birthday, Maya Bug. I hope you still like drawing." I put in a picture of Peanut. "She sleeps on my work boots." "I love you, Dad." A photo of an orange cat on a steel-toed boot slid onto the carpet. Maya read the card 3 times. "He knows I like drawing," she said quietly. Meanwhile, Nancy had been digging. Marcus Doyle, 39, industrial electrician, 11 years at the same Wisconsin outfit. 6 years ago he'd filed for visitation. The case died on the vine. Renee moved twice without forwarding anything. Service failed, hearings got continued into mush, and one filing, never tested, claimed he'd frightened her. Support payments, though, never stopped. Quiet, automatic, through the state, 6 years running, and every March, a card. "Before you feel good about this," Nancy said. Door shut. "You need to understand what it does to your case. When a court decides where a child lives, blood runs in a line. Parents first, always, before grandparents, long before aunts. A fit biological father outranks the most devoted aunt on earth. Right now you're winning. If we bring him in, he doesn't slot into your case, he replaces it. Best outcome, you're the beloved aunt with visitation. You will not be her guardian." She let it land. "And if you sit on it, you're the only one connecting these dots. Nobody would ever know." I drove home the long way. Maya was asleep in the lavender room we painted together in June, her drawings taped in rows, houses, windows, chimney smoke. Everything I wanted was 10 steps away, breathing slow. Keeping her would have been so easy. All I had to do was what my sister had done for 6 years, nothing. I went downstairs and searched. Marcus Doyle, electrician, Wisconsin. Nancy ran him properly first. Clean record. 11 years employed. Support payments verified, unbroken. 6 years. Then, at Thursday's therapy session, Maya's newest drawing showed the house, the windows, me in scrubs, the neighbor's cat, and at the edge of the paper, half off the page, a new figure, penciled, not colored in. "She left room," the therapist said. "Kids almost always leave room." That Saturday, I got up before sunrise and drove 5 hours north with the radio off. No call ahead. A phone call can be rehearsed, and I wanted the opposite of my sister. His house was small and squared away. A porch swing with the chains oiled. A work truck with ladder racks. I knocked. A big man with tired eyes and a cat winding his ankles opened the door. "Mr. Doyle, my name is Dana Whitfield. I'm Maya's aunt." I watched his knees go loose. At his kitchen table, he set down a dented tin box. Inside, photocopies of every card he'd ever mailed, made at the library before each one went out, dated in pencil on the back, so that someday, if he ever got to sit across from her, she'd know he hadn't skipped a year. 6 cards sent, 6 copies kept, 2 boxes 300 miles apart, and neither one knew the other existed until I stood in that kitchen holding both. He talked for an hour, none of it a performance, all of it matching Nancy's paper. The visitation case that starved to death. The moves with no forwarding address, the filing that called him frightening, his hands flattened on the table like they belonged to someone the court had invented. "I stopped fighting in court," he said. "I couldn't afford to find her twice a year. I never stopped writing." He never once asked what this would cost him. He asked one question first. "Is she safe right now?" Driving home in the dark, I finally said the true thing out loud. I hadn't found a witness for my case. I'd found her father. And fathers outrank aunts. We did it the right way, because the right way was the only gift I had left to give her. Marcus filed in our county. Nancy walked his lawyer through everything. Maya's therapist prepared her over 2 sessions, and on a Thursday at 4, in a small room with a couch and a sand tray, my niece met her father for 40 supervised minutes. He brought the tin box. Maya took out the real card and laid it beside its photocopy, auditing 6 years the way an 8-year-old audits, lips moving slightly. The first thing she said to her father was, "You spelled Mayabud the same way every time." Marcus Doyle, 240 pounds of industrial electrician, cried without a sound, shoulders holding a juice box he didn't know where to set down. Watching through the glass, I felt joy for her, and right on schedule, underneath it, the cold arithmetic of what I'd started. Every minute in that room was writing me out of the middle of her story. By Sunday, Renee knew. 11 missed calls. I didn't pick up. The post started an hour later. "They've let a stranger near my daughter, a man I protected her from." Protected did a lot of work in that sentence, considering the shoebox. Monday at lunch, she went past posting. She got as far as the cafeteria hallway, got a hander on Maya's wrist by the milk line before the vice principal stepped in. The school went into lockdown protocol. Police came. Maya didn't scream. She went still and polite, which was worse. Second violation, officers present, a child in hand. The court issued a civil protective order. No contact with Maya or the school. Contempt now hung over Renee like weather. That night, Maya asked to sleep with the light on for the first time since the hospital. Tuesday, a letter arrived at Nancy's office from Renee's attorney. Settlement. One condition, no Marcus. In a conference room with a table too big for 4 people, Renee's lawyer read it out slowly. She would consent, voluntarily, no trial, to permanent guardianship. To me, full, legal, forever. The family would call it a loving joint decision. Everyone's face saved. In exchange, every reference to Marcus comes out of the file, and I decline to support his petition. My want, gift-wrapped, one signature away, and the price was becoming my sister. Keep the child, bury the truth, call it protection. The family recipe. Renee couldn't stand the silence. "Take the deal, Dana. You win. Isn't that what you wanted, to be the better mother?" I said it slowly because I'd waited 5 months to know it this clearly. She was never being dramatic. She was being abandoned, and I won't abandon her politely with paperwork the way this family does everything. I slid my notebook and the photographs to Nancy, copies to Marcus's attorney, and I'll testify in support of his petition. Renee came out of her chair. For the first time in her life, I watched her perform nothing at all. "You're giving her away after everything you did to take her." Take, give away. A child in my sister's grammar is a thing that changes hands. At the door, I said the last thing I've ever said to her face. "That's the difference between us, Renee. I never wanted to keep her. I wanted her to be safe." The final hearing came 5 months, nearly to the day after that hospital hallway. Teresa Lynn testified flat and fair. Dr. Ellison's chart spoke, time-stamped consent and pool music in the background. Marcus's lawyer walked the court through 6 years of support payments in 6 postmarked envelopes. Judge Whitmore picked up one of the photographs and looked at it a long moment. "The way you look at something you plan to remember." I answered everything, including the one that cost the most. Did I want to raise Maya myself? With everything I have? That's not the same as what's best for her. Near the end, the judge met with Maya privately with a guardian ad litem. No parents, no aunts. Whatever was said stayed said. When the clerk walked her back to me, my niece was holding the Fox card flat against her chest, like a badge she'd decided to wear. We were called back the next morning at 10. Judge Whitmore read the ruling plainly. Custody of Maya to her father, Marcus Doyle. Parental rights established. Relocation plan already filed and funded. Court-ordered continuity. Same therapist, same school. Ongoing visitation with her aunt, named Standby Guardian. Renee, supervised visitation contingent on a parenting course and a therapy review in 1 year. No termination of her rights. The court left her a road back, marked and lit, the same road she'd left unwalked for years. That mercy is correct, and it still made my jaw tight. In the hallway, morning light coming through the tall windows, there was my sister, outside the closed courtroom doors. Phone up, a story half filmed. She saw me, mascara down both cheeks. You took everything from me. 20 years of the fixer rose up in my throat with 20 apologies ready, and I let them go by like a bus I was done riding. No, I said. You returned it to sender. And I walked past her, down the steps into the bright morning, where Marcus Doyle was crouched at eye level with his daughter, looking at a drawing she'd made that morning, and nobody anywhere was filming anything. It's been 5 weeks since that morning. Marcus rented a house 20 minutes from Fairview Ridge. Turns out an electrician can fix things anywhere. Maya started the new school year with the same teacher, the same art room, the same bus stop. Her room at my house is still her room. That was Marcus's insistence, not mine, which tells you what kind of man showed up when he finally got the chance. Recovery in kids isn't a montage. It's small and measurable, and I measure it, because charting is love in my native language. She sleeps with the light off again. She opens the fridge without apologizing to it first. The newest drawing on Marcus's refrigerator shows the house with the big windows, and the figure that used to float half off the page is standing on the porch now, colored all the way in, holding a cat. My mother came by once in October with a casserole and no apology. On her way out, she touched Maya's hair and said, "Your mother loves you in her way." Nobody argued. The sentence just sounded smaller in that kitchen, like a radio in another room. Renee came to her first supervised visit 20 minutes late, filmed a story in the parking lot before walking in, and spent most of the hour telling Maya about a trip she was planning. She missed the second visit without calling. Nobody editorialized. The file simply grew, one quiet page at a time. The hospital put me back on the pediatric floor the week after the ruling. On Sunday nights there's dinner at Marcus's. Last Sunday, Maya set the table and put out 4 plates for 30 people. When her father raised an eyebrow, she straightened the extra chair and announced it like a judge reading an order. The empty chair is for whoever comes back. I'm not her mother. I never wanted to be. I'm the aunt who showed up. And in this family, we finally know exactly how much that's worth. I spent 20 years believing that if I kept my family looking whole, it would stay whole. But a family isn't the people who share your name or your blood or your photographs. It's whoever keeps coming back. And the day I stopped protecting the picture and started protecting the child, I finally understood the one thing my sister was never taught. Love isn't a title you hold. It's a door you keep answering. That's my story. 1 ruptured appendix, 1 shoebox of returned birthday cards, and an empty chair that finally means something good. If you've ever been called the villain for protecting a child, keep showing up and keep writing it down. Drop a comment, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.